we're going to begin today with just some opening statements, and then we'll open it for Q&A at the end. We have left to right here the President and CEO of the Umaine Foundation, Jeff Mills, Director of Athletics, Ken Ralph, President Srini Mundy, and Chancellor Malloy. We'll start by handing it to the President for opening remarks. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Thank you so much for coming. What an exciting day this is for Umaine Black Bear Athletics. I should add that the co-lead of the Alphond Athletics component, Professor Judith Rosenbaum Andre, is watching virtually and will be available via Zoom today if you need to talk with her. A truly historic day for Black Bear Nation. We're all smiling. You can't see with the masks, but we are, because we're going to share with you today the details of how the $110 million investment based on the Alphond Foundation's extraordinary gift will upgrade our athletics facilities and allow us to make improvements to the facilities in ways that will impact all 17 of our Division I athletics programs. This is a first look at how we will reshape athletics. We're providing renderings and project details. Athletic Director Ken Ralph will tell you more about all of this. He and his team have worked very, very hard to bring us to today, and we're very grateful on behalf of the university for the work that athletics has done in leading this effort. We also celebrate the legacy of Harold Alphond and his incredible record of support to the University of Maine, to athletics, and to his students. It's a $90 million gift to athletics. There is a total of $240 million in a gift to the University of Maine system, and UMS transforms the effort that we have. The way we've named this effort is going to lead our engagement across all of the work. But today we want to thank the Harold Alphond Foundation for their continued and incredible support, their partnership in helping to make a brighter future for Maine and for its people, their confidence in the University of Maine and the University of Maine system. Their vision for Maine and their generosity is truly transformational, and we can't wait to tell you our ideas about how that's going to happen. Tomorrow will be a brighter and better day for everybody in our community and our state, because as a part of this commitment, we are absolutely looking to pursue gender equity and inclusive excellence with this project and with the planning and inclusion that will go on as we plan. A priority project is the University of Maine Soccer Stadium. We'll move from the outfield of the Mahaney Diamond and have a soccer-specific state-of-the-art facility. This is long overdue, and soon we'll be done with this. Inclusive excellence is a cornerstone of the Umaine experience, and I'm excited that we're addressing these issues of gender equity, ADA compliance, and community access. Thanks to Professor Rosenbaum Andre, Director Ken Ralph, and everybody's involvement. We have several campus committees that will be coming into place to work on these activities, to design the planning and implementation. We'll have statewide discussions about use of the facilities. Ken will tell you more. We're very excited to be able to be a go-to place, again, for all kinds of organizations and people from across the state of Maine. High school athletes, persons with disabilities, athletes of all ages. I always need to plug for robotics competitions and STEM activities, marching band activities, and more. I'd like to introduce Chancellor Dan Malloy, whose leadership and bold vision have been just tremendous assets to the University of Maine system and have been instrumental in our ability to obtain this incredible gift. Chancellor.
Well, thank you, President. It's great to be with you, and Ken, congratulations on this great day. And Mr. Mills at the end of the table, what are you doing here? You should be out raising money. So, I want to say that this is, we are first and foremost an educational institution, but athletics have always been a major part of that educational mission, particularly here at the University of Maine, where championships have been won, where professional athletes have left us and gone on to their careers, where our student athletes have excelled in their learning processes and remained in the state or gone to other states and done great things based on their experience here in Maine. We are, again, I'll say, an educational institution. That's why, as happy as I am about the $90 million that the Harold Alphond Foundation has dedicated, clearly in the name of Harold Alphond, who was a great benefactor of Division I athletics at the University of Maine when he was alive, and has done his foresight is doing so much for us on this day. But we also celebrate the $20 million for statewide student success initiatives to be added to by monies that we will raise and commit, making sure that there are pathways to college, experiential learning, and examining our gateway courses. We're very proud of the $75 million that will be also devoted to enlarging our engineering, computing, and information technology college here on a statewide basis, and very proud of the $55 million that have been committed by the Alfond Foundation with respect to our MBA program, our law program, and our Muskie School working together at the Professional Center to be located in the Portland area. I want to say one other thing, that this is a challenge to all of us in the University of Maine family, to rise to the occasion, to seize the moment, to have the best facilities that our students so richly deserve, and to be competitive on the fields and in the sports that we want to do, and be part and win those championships, and also to make sure that we are addressing issues of fairness and gender equity at the same time. It's a great day to be a Black Bear. And with that, I want to turn this very quickly over to Ken Ralph, who's done such an outstanding job and with whom I've enjoyed a strong working relationship as we address tight budgets and our desire to excel in programs. These dollars are a blessing, and in no small part were brought about as a result of Ken's vision and the hard work of Ken and his team. Turn it to you, sir.
Thank you, Chancellor Malloy and President Fernie-Mundy. Appreciate that. And, you know, it's hard to believe that for the last, 2.5+ years, this has been a daily part of my life, is thinking about this exact day, about when we get to go public with our projects, and we get to show everybody what we're going to be doing here going forward. And it's part excitement, part relief, but more than anything, it's just a very fulfilling feeling that we've made this step. And I'm getting a little carpal tunnel from all the texts we've had to answer, all the emails that have come in. But people have had a really emotional response to this, a very, very emotional response to the plans. And thank you to the Harold Alfond Foundation for believing in the University of Maine, believing in University of Maine leadership, in making an investment in the future, not just of the university, but in the state of Maine and the state of Maine's people. We wouldn't be here today without their vision and without their confidence that we could do this the right way, and that we could do it in a way that encapsulates all of the passions that Harold Alfond had for the University of Maine and the state of Maine. It feels great to be in this particular spot. When I took this job, there was a couple of things that really attracted me here. One of which was Umaine alums love the University of Maine, and they're passionate about this place, and it had so much to do with the people. But one of the things you always had was there was always this resignation that the athletic facilities were going to be what they were. It was never going to take that next step. Well, I wasn't willing to live with that. Neither was the president, neither was the chancellor. We always thought we could do better. We always thought we could find a way to give our students what they deserve, and to find ways to engage with our community that we haven't been able to do for many, many years. And not only that, but there's going to be challenges coming down the road for the University of Maine when it comes to enrollment. So we wanted to find ways that we craft facilities that speak to the challenges that we're going to face from an enrollment management perspective. How do you turn Orono into a destination? How do you leverage the platform that Division I athletics gives you to provide an opportunity to grow interest in your brand and in your product? And it's one of the reasons we really took a very comprehensive look at these facilities. Rather than building one very large, overdone facility that might serve a very small population, we really looked at this as comprehensive excellence. Comprehensive excellence for athletics, comprehensive excellence for the University of Maine and the University of Maine system. And I'm really pleased that we're going to be able to do that. I think that that's important. I think it's a responsibility that when you have a state flagship institution, you should take on that, take on that burden and move forward with it in a positive way. And this is going to pay dividends far beyond what we're going to see in wins and losses on the field. Yes, we expect competitive excellence to be an outcome, but as you can see from our release and from the video, we have so many other expected outcomes from this, whether it's gender equity. You've heard us use the term inclusive excellence. You've heard us talk a lot about community engagement. These are not empty platitudes. This is what we believe in, and this is what we're moving forward to accomplish. It's been a lot of fun today walking around the building and seeing our students and how upbeat they are. it's been a tough go this semester in this year in general, dealing with the COVID-19, dealing with the testing, dealing with the challenges, dealing with the social isolation in order to compete. But today, there was some celebrations going on in there, and one student ran up to me and hugged me. She goes, "I know this is against protocol, but I had to say thank you." And it just felt wonderful. And I feel really good about where we are, but the work is just beginning, and I'm hoping everybody's excited about that. I'm hoping everybody's bought in. We've made it pretty public that we're going to be raising $20 million in support of these facilities, but I hope everybody understands that $20 million is just the floor, right, Chancellor?
Yes,
All right.
only the floor.
Make sure that everybody understands that we have high aspirations, and just on the release alone, we're already getting donors coming forward, and it's been a pretty exciting morning for that. And so with that, I really want to pass it off to Jeff Mills, who's President and CEO of the Umaine Foundation. Jeff's a great partner for athletics, and we're going to be working hand in hand as we go. Now, remember, a lot of the funding that's coming in is additive. We're looking at what we're doing here is just baseline. And we're going to do this bigger and better. And that's what's so exciting about this is we're going to over-deliver on this project, and we're excited about that.
Thank you, Ken. First off, I'd like to thank also the Alphon Foundation, and I'd like to particularly thank the three people that are here at the table today. They're the ones who took the lead on getting the gift with the Alphon Foundation, so appreciate all of their hard work. It is a historic gift. The entire gift of the $240 million, and this piece, which is the first piece that we're going public with, which is the athletic piece. As was mentioned today, it is a gift in the form of a challenge grant. So $90 million will be coming from the Alphon Foundation, and we, as a challenge grant, need to raise at least $20 million for us to get the entire funding for the athletic piece that you see here today. I want to mention the case for support, which we have copies of in the back there. This talks about the case for support for people that are thinking of giving to the capital fund for the $20 million. I want to thank particularly Seth Woodcock, who's sitting over here, and also from the foundation, Joe Carr. Many people have worked with them. They will be the people that are the point people working through the foundation to help raise the $20 million. And if you get a chance to take a look at this, it talks about the ways of giving and other pieces that we have here today. Also, we have naming opportunities. We basically have something for everybody. So if anybody is interested in having a naming opportunity, all the way from lockers, all the way up to naming facilities. So we'll be very active in going out to make sure that we have the opportunity to raise the money and hopefully go beyond that. And this is the kickoff to make sure that we have volunteers out there and others that will help us to raise the $20 million as the challenge grant. And again, Seth Woodcock will be our point person along with Joe Carr from the foundation, working with everybody that you see here today to help to raise the $20 million, something for everybody. And I hope you'll help us with the college of your hearts always. Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone for your statements. We'll start with a line of questioning here. We'll start with Larry Mahoney from the Bagger Daily News.
Well, congratulations. Excuse me. I used to wear pants under the sweatpants for 11 months. You look at this is a memorable day, but if you build a new school, a new high school, spend $35 million. But if your curriculum is subpar and your teachers are substandard, you're not going to get the educational benefits that you may have received. My question is, what does this do for your vision of athletics in going forward, and what expectations? Because this is a financially strapped state, and this university is always in financial issues. What is your goal, or what can be attained, or what is your expectation? Thank you.
Perhaps I'll start and turn it to others. Ken, I'm sure will have something to say about this. But I want to pick up on something that Ken said, which is we're starting from a foundation that is very strong. Strong teams, wonderfully committed students, strong coaches and staff and athletes all through the athletics department. And so that's our baseline. And we can only grow from there. As Ken said, it's additive. And we will use what we have as this strong baseline to figure out where we can best expand, amplify what we're doing, create new opportunities perhaps for more people to be engaged not only in D1 athletics, but in rec sports and in intramural sports and in all of the other kinds of opportunities with these facilities that we've discussed. It's a 10 to 12-year project. As we look down the road, we'll grow with it, and we'll figure out what we need to do as it all happens. Ken can say more, I'm sure.
Well, as Ken knows too, your coaches are probably, and your recruiting budgets are at the low end, maybe the lowest in all your conferences.
No, and I think that's a fair assessment, Larry. And the reality is you can't fix everything all at once in our situation. So we have to fix what we can fix. And we looked at facilities as something that was, that had to be done, not only for the competitiveness of our teams, but also for our standing within the community. I mean, we've lost a lot of face with this community by just not hosting the events that we used to host 15, 20 years ago. I mean, you know that as well as anybody. And so I think, this is okay. We're getting our facilities done. And this isn't concept anymore. This is happening. Okay, I mean, there's shovels going in the ground, and we're getting this done. So now we can move on to some of the other issues. And we recognize what those are. And the president and I have had very blunt conversations about, where are we in terms of budgets? Where are we against our peers? Where are we with salaries? And there's no easy answers to those things. I think we're very fortunate to have the staff we do and the commitment that we have from them. But we recognize the fact that, this is going to raise some bars. And we've got to recognize that. We're also hoping this helps us with some external revenue generation, which can be used to support operations as well. That was part of the way some of these things are designed, because external revenue generation is going to become a bigger and bigger part of what we need to do to support our programs.
Question just for you, and this is off the staff. You've got a bunch of teams hoping to play in the near future, including some fall teams that are in the spring. Is there any, in your dealings with President Mills, is there any way games are going to be played up here, even outdoors, as you go on?
So we've got the plans, multiple versions of the plans, very particular details about what it looks like on game day and what the passage of folks through our buildings will look like, and all of those numbers, those get reviewed here first on campus by our Emergency Operations Center for compliance with system and state guidelines. And if they're able to approve them, then those come to my office. So we've got various teams and sports in that queue right now, looking at it every day. Very, very hopeful that there will be some activity. And of course, we've been able to do quite a lot through the fall when we weren't even sure that we could. So strong commitment to getting our athletes in a position where they can play. And as Ken well knows, we talk about that daily in terms of how it's looking.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Larry. We'll go to David Peck from Fox ABC Network.
Yeah, this is a question for Ken. Just wondering what the timeline is moving forward. I know it's 10 to 12 years as the entire project, but when are the shovels going to go into the ground? And what is the order or anticipated order for some of the projects that we're reviewing today?
Sure. And, we say 10 to 12 years, but I can tell you I sit next to two very impatient people, and so I'm not sure it's going to be 10 to 12 years. I have a feeling that timeline is going to be accelerated. We are going to be doing some small things getting off the ground, and Larry, you'll be happy to know this. We will be replacing the turf on the football field, and so we're going to be working on that. But you're going to see us start, and again, we're hopefully starting in summer of 22 with the 3 fields for softball, field hockey, and soccer. Again, 3 desperate needs for us, and also we need to show our commitment to gender equity. We've made that a cornerstone of our discussion surrounding these events. And then we're going to be moving through the facilities to include the domed spaces, the multi-purpose, and then the hockey facility. Some of it will be a little bit dependent on fundraising and how that comes in, but there's also going to be some opportunities to do some upgrades, for example, here in Alfond Arena, that don't require a shovel in the ground. When you take a look at some of the technical upgrades and scoreboards and things like that. So there'll be other things that we'll be able to integrate as part of the project earlier than maybe something that requires a new construction element.
And then my other question, kind of going off that, is when do you expect the basketball team to be able to play on campus, and what were the conversations with the Cross Center as far as the next 1 to 5, 1 to 7 years of still playing games there? Kind of how was that conversation?
Yeah, we've been very open with Tony Vale and his team at Cross Insurance Center. We have a great relationship with them, and we wanted to make sure we were being on the up and up. It also is a civic arena, and we value our relationship with the city of Bangor, and we wouldn't want to do anything to harm that relationship. relationship. We will probably end up extending our existing relationship with Cross Insurance Center in the short term and go, once this agreement is finished, we'll go to an annual rolling agreement until we're able to play here. Part of it is going to be determined on when the availability of funds is accessible, and so we can get going. It's a 16-month construction timeline on the basketball facility or multi-purpose facility, and so once you see a shovel in the ground, you can add about a year and a half, and we'll be in there.
When you say short term, how long is that before you start going to the annual contract?
I got asked that question on the way in the door, and I don't know the end date of our relationship with Cross Insurance. They're committed to keeping us there as long as we're needed to be in there. And we actually had great conversations with them about how we can cooperatively use the two facilities for different events that might be able to really benefit our students and our community. Some really exciting things because we're really sizing this in a way to not be a competitor, and that was very deliberate. It wouldn't be healthy for a market of this size to try to build two facilities the same size and compete for events. That doesn't make any sense at all. So we're really looking at cooperative opportunities, and I think we can have an awful lot of fun with that and drive a lot of value to the campus in that fashion.
All right, thank you.
Next up, we'll go to Sam Rogers from News Center, Maine.
Ken, sticking with you, how have you really seen the landscape of Division I athletics kind of change in terms of recruits want to go to the best places facility-wise? Maybe the team or the coach is important, obviously, but it's all facilities now. Have you seen that? And has that really kind of been a driving force for this project?
There's definitely an arms race in Division I athletics when it comes to facilities, but quite frankly, we didn't want to participate in it. And I think it's a bit of a fool's errand, because I think what you end up is saddling schools with a bunch of debt they can't manage, especially when you have a rough economic year like we did this year. And you take a look around the landscape of Division I, and the schools that are holding a lot of debt on their new facilities, and they're really struggling budget-wise. We're looking at these facilities, and we don't want to be holding any debt, but we want to have facilities that are clearly Division I caliber, but are also sized appropriately for our community and for our campus size and for our needs. So we sort of have to thread that needle a little bit, because everybody just assumes bigger is better. But we would rather have a high quality facility that is simple and elegant and easy to maintain, and something that's going to look great for the next 25 years. So that really drove a lot of our decision making.
And President Green Money, I know you mentioned trying to host more community events, STEM events with these new facilities. You might talk about what programs, events the university was hosting. Now it's not anymore, and hopefully trying to bring back some local, I don't know if it was like recreational sports tournaments or anything like that.
So some of that goes back before my time, but over the years, as the facilities have been less and less available and accessible, we've not been the destination. And so we're ready to step that back up, to bring folks here. Certainly once we're past pandemic restrictions, we would begin right away even in trying to work with organizations that maybe haven't thought about us lately, but we'd like to get them back in the loop. So I'm very interested in what we can do that helps K through 12 students and teachers and their families see what the possibilities are for college. And therefore we might come forward with more events that cater to those audiences, to bring them onto the campus, get a look at what higher education can be and how they can imagine themselves here. So again, we'll be working on programmatic ideas as months go by, but I'm excited about seeing much more of it happening here as we move ahead.
And let me just get one more. Ken, I know you mentioned for the Alphon Arena, the technology upgrades, video board, sound system. Do you mind talking about when we start seeing these things? And I know you mentioned you don't have to break a shovel and put in a new video board. Will this kind of be going simultaneously with the development of the soccer field upgrades?
Yeah, we've already been in contact with some product providers on what that would look like, to make sure we're correct in our assumptions on cost. And it's a number of different things. It's center hung video boards and it's ribbon boards, and I think everybody who's been to a game here in Alphon Arena really wants the sound system upgraded. And you think about lighting, the Wi-Fi obviously needs to be upgraded, and TV production capabilities, because we want to put a great event on here and showcase the University of Maine. And there's an assumption of quality that comes with showing a great event that can be distributed nationally. Those are things that we can do based on the current structure of the building. But again, it's okay, when is the money arriving? It's a timed gift from the Alphon Foundation. What we are going to try to do is see if we can do some some work to borrow against that, and if we can, then some of these things will happen earlier. It's impossible for me to put a hard date and say, okay, by summer of 22, this particular thing is going to be done. But we know that once the funding is approved, that we'll be able to move quickly on some of those items that are not going to require new structure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Go to Eric Ellison from WAI.
Yeah, Ken, look through, it looks like you've touched pretty much every single aspect of the athletics, every sport. The one that stood out to me was because you said you're eliminating the track at football stadium. What happens with the track and field program?
Sure. We actually met with the track and field coaches about that very topic, because originally we were looking at moving the 400-meter track to another location within the footprint. And we just kind of had a wild idea of, nobody's got one of these 300-meter tracks in New England. Is this something we ought to consider? And it took them about a day to come back and say, yeah, absolutely, because we looked at how often our teams get to train outdoors, and it's really very rarely, especially in the spring during the outdoor season. The other thing that was brought to our attention is that these 300-meter tracks, you can use them for qualification for indoor standards. So for a student trying to qualify for an indoor IC4A meet or ECACs or national championships, you can run on a much faster 300-meter track and qualify in a 200-meter standard. So it opens up a whole bunch of new possibilities for us in terms of the different types of events that we can hold. And I think for any of you that have been here on weekends when we've hosted high school track indoor meets and tried to find a parking space, it's crazy around here. And we realize it's an incredible service we provide, and if we're really going to be engaging our community at a high level, this is a better type of facility than an outdoor track would be. Everybody's got an outdoor track. This would be new. This allows us to engage the community at a higher level, and that drove some of the decision making.
They'd still be able to compete as an outdoor team, they just wouldn't be able to have meets here then?
Correct. We don't hold meets here now. And quite frankly, with everybody having outdoor tracks, there's nobody's going to drive all the way up to Maine to go to a meet anyways. And what we'll do is we're going to trade track time, indoor time for outdoor time, some local schools, and give our students the opportunity to be able to practice on the outdoor 400-meter tracks when we do have the weather cooperating.
Does this open up avenues to hold regional championships or conference championship stuff here?
Absolutely. And it's a discussion I had with the commissioner of the America East Conference last night. She just lit up and said, we'll be able to host indoor track at your place. And not only that, but the field house is going to stay as it is. So we can do the throwing and jumping events inside the field house and the running events inside the speed dome. It's going to be an incredible setup and something that nobody else has. It's going to be very unique to Maine, and it's going to be a way for us to stand out.
Are they still going to be able to have, you said they're setting up the basketball games, would they be able to host the America East tournament, would they be able to host, maybe, I know we've been working to get a hockey regional here, is the pool going to qualify to host America East? Is that going to be a possibility across the board?
Well, the pool isn't large enough to have a warm down area, so we wouldn't qualify to host America East. I know we have in the past, but the new standards don't allow us to do that. We'll be able to host in, now that I'm looking around, I think every single sport except swimming and outdoor track. And it's kind of nice to have that feeling. And the other thing is that weather will be less of an impact for us going forward, and that's a big deal.
Can you explain, I looked at the pictures of the dome. I know you have a dome, but this one seems bigger and more advanced. Can you explain the dome project?
Yeah, it's two separate domes. So the Maine dome will be replaced and enlarged, partially so we can go full width of a soccer field and also be able to get softball in there to be able to get their training in. And we see that as again, an equity thing and also a safety pitch there. The second dome is going to have the 100-yard turf field surrounded by a 300-meter track. It's a much larger enclosure. It's over 100,000 square feet. The technology in those facilities is really unbelievable now, and it's going to be fun, I think, for our engineering students to engage with the contractors as we put these things together, because it's such a unique look. So we're going to have the two domes side by side. We're hoping we can link them so that you'll be able to pass from one end to the other and be able to go through the buildings without ever going outside. So again, it's a little bit of a different look, and the peer facilities we looked at were at North Dakota, Notre Dame, and Pittsburgh State and Kansas. All had 300-meter tracks, and we talked to all of them about how they use them. It's just incredible, and it's the kind of activity we want going on our campus.
That's all I had. The softball. Softball's going to
Yes. Full turf field, including the infield.
And is that an equity angle that you guys took? I know that's something they've been hoping for a long time.
It is, and it's, our softball field, we've had years, we've had 1 or 2 home games total in an entire season. And so we want to be able to just plow snow off it and be able to get our students out there to get their practices going as soon as possible. We also want it to be able to drain very well so we don't lose games because of rainouts. And we just want to make sure that when you take a look at the baseball field and say this is a great baseball field, we go over to the softball field and say this is a great softball field, and everybody feels like they're being accommodated at the highest level. That's really important to us.
How accessible, once these projects go, are they going to be? Because I know you've had a lot of shared space with John Bass for Old Town or Orono, the local high schools have been able to come here. And then you've had any discussions with the MTA on this sort of thing?
Yeah, matter of fact, the president can probably tell you, we had a very nice, a nice email this morning from a local athletic director who was just blown away by the projects and was so excited about the opportunities for the local high schools to be able to engage here. And while it's important to us, it's not always completely altruistic either, because we want all those students coming here to start thinking about the University of Maine for their college decision. We want to do everything we can to drive high school students to Maine and engage in our facilities and have great experiences here. And we want to sell them a Umaine t-shirt, and we want to get them to buy a hockey ticket. And we want to get them to feel like they're a Black Bear before they ever graduate from high school. And so a lot of the design of the facilities is not only to serve the highest level of college sports, but also it's going to be a driver for our enrollment management group. And we just felt that this is a great way for us to cooperate in terms of cross platforms.
Thanks, Eric. We have a number of people watching the live stream, including media members. Mike Lowe just sent in a question. He wishes he could be here, but his question is specific about the strategy of the construction, and I'll aim this at you. He's wondering if there will be a time during construction when teams will be limited on how many home games they can play, such as softball, soccer, and field hockey, while they're getting their new fields constructed.
Yeah, and that was something we considered as part of the master design plan, was if you're building over the same spot of an existing facility, that team is displaced for a certain period of time, and you end up having to rent fields and drive teams around, and there's risk associated and cost associated. So as we looked at these facilities, we really focused on, okay, how can we maneuver these facilities in a way where we don't disrupt any current operations? And we did a pretty good job succeeding with that. The way the softball, soccer, and field hockey facilities go in, there won't be any contact with their existing facilities. So as we're building those, the teams can still use the facilities they're on currently to be able to practice and participate. Then once softball and field hockey move into their new fields, that opens up the space where we're going to be putting the speed dome, because that displaces softball and field hockey. But they'll already be gone, so we're not displacing any sports there as well. And we go that way all the way around. We should not be displacing any sports at any point in time.
Thank you. That completes our questioning. So I'll thank the speakers for your time, and thank members of the media. If anyone has any follow-ups, please just let me know, and I'd be happy to help with that. Thanks everyone for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.